Man, that was our greatest battle ever. And don't you mean Jinrai high five? Jinrai, that was wonderful. We rescued all those people. Well, it was all thanks to Grand and his big spaceship. No problem, folks. We saved the day. That's another success for the Masterforce. Well, I don't need my helmet anymore. Hey, what's that?
It's a lovely summer day here in California.
Hi Internet, I'm Jeremy from CollectionDX. You may also know me from Destroy All Podcast DX. Today I am talking about this guy. This is Black Zarak. This is the Sentinel Toys gigantic action figure Black Zarak. It is really, really big. Now you may be going, well, maybe Jeremy's just short. Nope. You may also be wondering how he stacks up with, say, another really huge Transformer. Yeah, that's right. You finally have a Scorponok that can stand up to your Fortress Maximus. Of course, because I'm me, I got Brave Maximus and Black Zarak, because, I just can't have the original colors. Gotta have the recolor. I'll show you one more. Yes, that's right. This is a Black Zarak almost as tall as Jumbo Machinder Magic Mozan. Comparisons out of the way. Let's talk about the toy. So if you are a fan of the Transformers, you may be familiar with the Japanese-only continuations of the original 1980s Transformers cartoon. The second of these continuations was called Transformers Masterforce, and it was about a bunch of humans who transformed into heads or engines of robots, sometimes also pretenders where it was a robot inside of a squishy human shell or some kind of horrible monster. But we also had this guy here. Now, Black Zarak is actually a headmaster in the toy line. The TV show version of Black Zarak didn't really have the headmaster feature, although it's based on Scorponok, who definitely did have the headmaster feature. So, according to the TV show, Scorponok, the head inside of here, was defeated at the end of Headmasters, the show that came before Masterforce, and Scorponok's Transtector, which is his big robot body, was destroyed, leaving behind him just as a tiny little head robot. So the tiny little head robot built a new Transtector, this big robot here for him to ride inside of. And in the TV show, the pair of them, the head inside of here and the big robot body, was possessed by Devil Z, who is an evil alien creature from outer space who can do weird things like make humans into super powerful robots. So he also possessed this and became essentially the main bad guy for the Transformers Masterforce show from 1988. So there are a couple of problems with the original Black Zarak toy, the first of which is that it is much too small to be Black Zarak. The 1987 Headmasters line featured Fortress Maximus, who fought against, getting a little windy here in San Francisco, Fortress Maximus, who fought against Scorponok, who was kind of a purple and green scorpion thingy. See my review on Scorponok if you want to. And this toy was recolored to make a black and gold with the red highlights Scorpion Black Zarak. Now, the toy was the exact same toy, and it had the same problem the Scorponok toy did, which was that it was just way too short to fight Fortress Maximus. Fortress Maximus is about 2 feet tall, and, Scorponok is like, I want to say like 13, 14 inches, something like that. I don't have my Scorponok handy, it's in the closet, but it's much shorter. So, Sentinel fixed that problem with gigantic action Mega Zarak. Scorponok, the big robot body, is known as Mega Zarak in Japan. In the US, the big robot body is Scorponok and the small robot head is Lord Zarak. So a little bit of change in the nomenclature here. But the Japanese company Sentinel also made a recolor of Gigantic Action Scorponok, and that's this right here, Gigantic Action Black Zarak. Now, this thing is, you gotta set expectations, right? It is practically a Jumbo Machinder, and I mean that not just in size and proportions, but also in feature set. It does not transform into a base, it does not transform into a Scorpion, it's just, as the name implies, a gigantic action figure. It does come with weapons, so I'll show you those. First, we've got the shield. It's called the Zarak shield, I believe. Now, the connector here is just a peg and a hole. Be warned, it's a little bit hard to shove it in here. If you have difficulty, you can heat it up, because this is all basically a giant vinyl. It does have some other materials mixed into it, but it's essentially vinyl, so there you go. Plugs it in. Ooh, he looks fancy with his shiny golden shield. Okay, I'm gonna take that out of the way. Give you a good look at it. Here's the back. Really, really nice paint job on this. The gold metallic paint is beautiful. The silver looks good. There's just a little bit of red detailing, but mostly it's just gold. I've heard people complain about the seam because it appears to be two pieces of vinyl joined together. This is a stupid complaint because the original toy and has the exact same seam, because this folds in half for an alternate mode, which this toy does not have. So that seam is actually accurate to the original, and I don't know if it necessarily showed up in the TV show, but it's dumb to complain about. Okay, now the gun. So this is another piece where it's two joined vinyl pieces. They're sort of welded together. Again, I'm not bothered by this, but anal retentive people, maybe. The gold looks nice on there, but it's clearly just painted on, unlike the toy where it's a piece of gold plastic stuck to the red piece of plastic and gold. Those were ABS in the original, but that's okay. So we're going to stick this into Black Zarak's hand. So I guess I should have mentioned this before. His claws are posable. It's pretty stiff, which is a good thing in my opinion. You essentially need to plug, see this hole here? You need to plug this knob into that hole. And again, this can be a little bit hard to do if you're, if the fist, or the claw I should say, is at all cold, but mine's pretty warm because it's a hot summer day here in San Francisco, so no problem. So there we go. Black Zarak holding his rifle. It's pretty cool. But I kind of like the claw action more than I like him holding the gun, so on my shelf, I take it out. Not too hard to pull it out either, you just kind of do the same thing you did in reverse, just pull out the plug. Did I mention this thing is really big? Actually, I think I'm going to leave it in because I don't think I can get a good grip on it without knocking it over, and I don't want to do that. So, we will look next at the guns. Now, these guns here are not vinyl. They're some kind of harder plastic. I'm not sure if it's ABS or what. It feels maybe a smidgen on the brittle side. I haven't had any issues, but be careful. It's on a joint, on a ball joint, so you can twist it around a little bit, but it looks like it might mess up the paint behind it if you're not careful, so think twice. Same thing on the other side here. Posable, but just a little. The head, also posable, but, you know, it's vinyl, so it's kind of tight. If it's warmer, it'll be fine. The head seems to be a harder plastic than everything else. Paint details are really good, like the glossy finish on Black Zarak's Sneer. Good face, also really good gold paint on the chest, and really nice tampo printed Decepticon logo, or Destron if you prefer. Good silver here, I like the blue. It's just really good looking. Zoom out a little bit here. So you can see here, purple detailing, gold detailing, mostly black, but silver and blue makes it look pretty good. So let me show you a little bit of Black Zarak's posability, because you may not be able to tell when I have the camera so close. So, arm can go all the way around. You can go bend it pretty far in. Claw doesn't go all the way far enough to bust out or anything, but you can actually see the joint here behind it. This is a different kind of harder plastic than the vinyl that's around it. I already showed you the claw opening, but you can see it opens like that. Another thing about the claw is this part twists all the way around. You can get some kind of weird poses, but I mean, it's a scorpion claw, so it looks a little unnatural. I do want to also mention the shoulder joint here. Let's see here. It rotates all the way around. Really satisfyingly tight. He's not going to drop his arm if you leave it up on the shelf. It looks good. Now for the legs. The legs are much more posable than you might expect. So you can notice here the joint. There's another one of these in-out harder plastic joints here. And it bends really surprisingly far. I wouldn't try to balance it on this because this thing weighs a lot. But if you can reach a balance point, it'll stay. The joints are pretty tough, it's just heavy. Would also like to mention here, ball and socket joint on the foot. Pretty impressive for a big, giant vinyl. I've heard people say that they don't think it qualifies as a Jumbo Machinder because of the posability, but modern Jumbo Machinders tend to be more posable. I mean, there are some deliberately retro ones like the Super 7 Jumbo Stormtrooper and the Super 7 Boba Fett that recently came out. And you know, there's the older Power Rangers, Wild Force, Dino Thunder, etc. from the early 2000s that were deliberately retro, especially the Dino Thunder ones. I have the Dino Thunder Stegazord, or whatever it's called, and that one is very much an old school Jumbo with the same limited proportions and articulation and similar hollow shampoo bottle. But, you know, this guy is a villain, and the Jumbo villains were vinyl. So, I mean, I'm talking like in the 70s, Garuda, and all of those guys were vinyl. Yeah, Douglas vinyl. So, if you ask me, this is pretty much a Jumbo Machinder, and that's why I'm categorizing it that way on my text review on CollectionDX. So, you may feel differently, but I think it's a Jumbo. It's really, really satisfying to play with. It's really, really big. I 100% recommend it if you have hundreds and hundreds of dollars, because that's the catch with this one. It was really, really expensive. I believe the retail price in Japan worked out to something like almost $500 US. They have had various sales at various stores about it. I got it from, I guess it's Ami, or maybe AMIM. I'm not really sure how you're supposed to call that, but that's the store I got it for relatively cheap. I think it was around $300, which is a discount over $500 for sure, but still really expensive, and I could not have gotten it if it weren't for my bonus, my Christmas bonus. Not that I actually got my Christmas bonus at Christmas, it was months later. So I know that this review is much later than the couple of other reviews that are out there on this, but that's okay, because it's really expensive, and, you know, you gotta take what you can get. So, I guess I could show you the back a little bit, because there is some detail here, but, you know, that's about all there is to show you. It's a big, giant, huge, mostly soft vinyl action figure reinforced with some harder plastic. Because it is soft vinyl in places, you may have issues with just warping from heat, and you just, you know, hit it with a hairdryer or put it in front of your heater for a little while, or again, like get hot water in a bowl and dump it on it or something like that. Truth. This is totally true. I was having trouble getting see this chest here. There's like it was a little indented on the plastic here from where the head was. I guess it was kind of hot in shipping. So guess what I did? I'm not kidding. I put it in the shower under hot water. So I had a shower with my Black Zarak to straighten out all the pieces of the vinyl that were a little bit squished. You may or may not have to do that depending on what your Black Zarak goes through on its way over here. And oh, by the way, the shipping on this thing is ridiculous, and is going to be because it is extremely heavy. Like, you can lift it with one hand, it's true, but it's still ginormous. And for, you know, comparing to your average, you know, 5-6 inch action figure, this thing is much bigger. Just not only weight, but also the dimensions of the box are just ridiculous. In fact, I might just go grab my box and show you in a separate video, or just attach it to this one, because it's ridiculous. So, do I think this is a great toy? Absolutely. This is one of my favorite toys in a long time, and it helps that I'm a big fan of Transformers Masterforce, and I've always wanted a Black Zarak that was the right size to battle it out with, you know, Grand Maximus. Not that I have a full-size Grand Maximus, but I do have Brave Maximus, and that's close enough. You could also have him fight other 2-foot-tall monsters. Like, I did show you how he compares against the recent Metroplex and Jumbo Machinder heroes like Machinder Z. So you can for sure have him fight those. You can also do what I did in the video at the very beginning, which is have him stomp your much smaller Transformers, and that's very satisfying. So I absolutely love this thing. Jumbo Machinder purists might be angry that it has posability that Jumbo Machinders typically don't. Transformers purists may be angry that it does not transform, although typically Takara Tomy and Hasbro do not allow their licensees to make transforming toys, even if they allow them to make toys in the shape of them. You know, you have like the EX Gokeen can't transform, and you have like older stuff like the Super Collection figures, or even the, you know, things like that. Every once in a while they'll allow it, like candy toys, but you know, usually the nice deluxe premium sort of collector figures don't transform unless they're made by Hasbro or Takara Tomy. So that's it. Send feedback, or leave your feedback on the YouTube comments page or on CollectionDX.com. You can read my written review of this toy up shortly on CollectionDX.com. You can check out my podcast every week, www.destroyallpodcastdx.com, or you can just find it on CollectionDX.com. And I'm on Twitter at Why Do I Say. Thanks very much. Bye. Hi folks, just wanted to give you a little addendum to my gigantic action figure Black Zarak from Sentinel review, just to show exactly how big the shipping box is, because it's ridiculous.
Sold separately.